Honestly, it's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute since I've done a rant review. And this is about to feel so... I don't know what the word I'm looking for suddenly, but it's about to feel nice. I haven't done a rant review in probably almost over a year, actually. I love doing rant reviews. One of my favorite things to do, as long as I'm not insulting the audience who reads the books or the author personally, then like I just love going in on a book. Like, it's my favorite thing to do. So today we're going to be doing a rant review of the beloved book Addie Larue. Everyone get your tea and get ready because I'm about to go in. So everyone knows what Addie Larue is about. Addie Larue is about a girl who wants to live forever, so she ends up making the deal with the devil. And the catch is that everyone she comes across will forget her until eventually she comes across a boy who remembers her. The characters are, so there's Addie. She's very boring, has 7 freckles, and that is her personality trait. She is not like other girls, and yeah, everyone forgets about her. She's not memorable. Then there's Henry, the whack love interest that literally I guess everyone cares about, but no one cares about. And then there is also the devil, which he's never actually called the devil. It's just referred to as the darkness. And he is very in love with Addie Larue, and he wants to be with her so badly, but she is not budging. She don't want to be with this man. Now let's get into the review. If you came here for a love story between a girl and the darkness she made a deal with, don't even bother. I think that the story was actually pretty good, but it wasn't advertised as what it was. I thought the story would be about a girl falling in love with the devil, but it wasn't. And I mean, that's fine, but it's just like the book was advertised as the girl falling in love with the devil. Like, and then at first when I was doing my review, I thought it was just me. Like, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just like, maybe I'm the only one who's getting that from this. But no, I watched other people's review of it and they were like, oh, we thought it was going to be about a girl falling in love with the devil. So I wasn't the only one who got that message, because at first I was like, maybe I'm reaching, maybe I made that up, maybe I seen it somewhere. Like, no, literally everyone said that. Literally, even when I tell people like, yeah, it's not a story between the girl and the devil, they're like, oh no, never mind, I don't want to read it, because it's not. And I feel like it's a bit cheap because you're hyping this book up. You have everyone thinking like, oh my gosh, we're finally gonna get a story between a girl and the devil, and that's not what we get. And it just like, that's why most people were hyping it up, because that's what the story we wanted. Was a love triangle, which I don't care. Love triangles aren't my, like, I know there's a buzzword, but like the opposite of buzzword. Like, love triangles are just in the middle for me. Like, I'm like, if I hear it's a love triangle, I'm like, okay, whatever. Because typically in love triangles, you know who the person's gonna get with anyways, and the other person is just there for a plot line. So it's like, I don't mind. It pushes the story along. It keeps the drama flowing, keeps it interesting. I don't care. But it wasn't like, it's not advertised as a love triangle. Like, you think it's about the story between this girl and this darkness, when it's literally not. And it's not even really a love triangle. And it just, in the book, to me, it felt like the love triangle kind of came in the middle of the story out of nowhere. It felt like V.E. Schwab created this love triangle just to push the story along, and Addie Larue being in love with Henry was not believable for me at all. He didn't seem like that much of an intriguing person, and she just didn't really seem to care about him that much, to be honest, which, that's ironic. The big problem I have is I think that V. Schwab has a habit of writing her character as not like other girls. This is the 3rd V. Schwab book that I've gotten, and this is the 3rd feel I've gotten from it. I've read Vicious, and I've gotten that feeling from Sydney, because the way that Sydney like treats her sister, because her sister is into more girly things than her, is like, was interesting to me. And like, she kind of had like this animosity towards her sister because she liked girly things. And then I read A Darker Shade of Magic, and Lila was the epitome of not like other girls. Like, there's literally a scene where she basically says, I'm not like other girls, where she's like, all these other girls are wearing dresses and I don't like it, or something similar to that. Like, something about like what they were wearing and how she wasn't wearing that. And then I've also read this book, and I just feel like this is the 3rd book I've read by her. And I've also did a tweet about it, and I asked people like, yo, do V. Schwab's other books give like a feel of the characters not being like other girls? And they said that yeah. Like, oh, I've read 4 V. Schwab books. I also read City of Ghosts, so I read 4. But that main character, she was like, she kind of felt like not like other girls too, not gonna lie. But it's like a child, so it's like a middle grade book, so it's like whatever. But people have read V. Schwab's other books, and they said that they got the same feel from like this Savage Song and like their other books, and it just feels like at this point it kind of feels like a bit self-inserting, like, because I feel like also V.E. Schwab kind of gives off like I'm not like other kind of girls, I'm quirky kind of feel. Like, no offense, like I don't mean that in a mean way, but V.E. Schwab definitely gives off that I'm not like other girls kind of feel. And so I feel like maybe she kind of writes that in her books a lot and she doesn't even notice it. And just please, let's stop doing that I'm not like other girls, because it feels like it's very like, it makes it sound like it's bad to be feminine, and it's not, and it's very put downish. Like, okay, like I am like other girls, I love girly things, I love doing my makeup, I love, I don't know, I love doing weird stuff that girls like to do. Like, I love girly things, and like it's okay to not be like other girls, but it's also okay to be like other girls. And I don't think that V. Schwab knows that, because I have yet to read a book where I'm not looking at the camera, sorry, I have yet to read a book where the main character is like other girls and is okay with being like other girls. Like, even in reading this book, like there was just like one specific line that V. Schwab wrote that like I was like, here we go again with this BS and the I'm not like other girls. Because like, honestly, Addie Larue was fine up until that point. Then I read that line and I was like, ugh, not this again. Not this again. I wanted so badly to like this book. V. Schwab has yet to get a 5-star from me. Vicious was a 4-star, and I actually really did like that book. Like, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. Like, I liked it, but I feel like I was kind of forced like, because it was popular at the time and I was just starting booktube, so maybe, I don't know, I think I need to give it a reread to see if like the feelings that I had for it still holds up. But I don't like, V. Schwab's writing isn't my favorite thing ever, and I don't know what it is about her writing that I don't like. But City of Ghosts was like okay, and it could be because it was a middle grade and I don't typically read middle grade, so like I was trying not to be harsh when I rated that book. And then it's hot. I also read A Darker Shade of Magic, and it just wasn't like what it was hyped up to be. Like, I didn't get what everyone got from that book. But in this book, the writing was really different, but in a good way. Like, I really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the way the story was told. I enjoyed a lot of specific things about the story, but it was just Addie Larue as a character and the romance. Like, I really liked that we got to see Addie Larue and why she wanted to live forever, and like we even got to experience her experiencing people forgetting her for the... What was that? So we even got to experience people forgetting her for the first time. And I also really liked how chapters were like from the present and the past. Like, there are things I actually really enjoyed about this book. Like, this book was actually a 3-star book, but I gave it a 2-star because don't tell me you're gonna give me a book about a girl and the devil and you don't give me that. It's just like, I just feel like bamboozled. Like, I feel hoodwinked. Like, I understand why people like this book. Like, it's not... First of all, I'm never the kind of person to be like, oh my gosh, this book is so hyped, I don't see why. Like, I'm not that kind of person. I've never been that kind of person. And I understand why people love, like, this book. And I could see why people would give it 5 stars. Like, I completely understand if, like, people read this book and they're like, this is my favorite book of all time. Like, I understand why. It is a good book. But for me, I am big on my romances in books. Like, first of all, I think that a lot of V. Schwab books don't need romances. Like, A Darker Shade of Magic did not need romance. And I think it's because... I don't think that V.E. Schwab knows how to write romance very well. Like, I've come across that conclusion because the romance in this book just wasn't good. And here's a spoiler, so I'll pull up like a stop sign or something, and once it goes away, like, it'll let you know that the spoiler's over. But basically, she gets with the darkness, but she's settling for him. Like, she literally says, like, I don't even really want to be with him. I'm just with him because I feel like it's time to be, because he's been chasing me for so long. Like, that's literally what we get out of the book. And that's not something I want. Like, the darkness was in love with her, or was interested in her and was pursuing her, but she wasn't interested in him. She wasn't even really interested in Henry. Like, I just don't think that V.E. Schwab knows how to write romance very well, because even the romance between Henry and Addie just wasn't convincing at all. And the darkness being like, I can't even tell you if the darkness was in love with her or not, because it wasn't convincing. Like, he just seemed like he was interested in her. He'd be like, come be with me, and then she'd be like, no, and he would be like, and then he'd be like, all right, bye. And then he would, like, 2 centuries later, he'd be like, please Addie, come be with me. She'd be like, no. He'd be like, all right, peace out. Like, it's like, I don't think that V. Schwab really knows how to write romance. And I think that if you're going to write a romance in your book, make it good. Like, I feel like as someone who loves romance, like, romance is one of my favorite genres. It's one of my most read genres. I feel like if you're going to write romance, you need to read romance. Like, romance is a craft, and it's not just making two people fall in love. You have to make sure we believe their chemistry. You have to make sure we believe that they want to be together. You have to make sure that it makes sense as to why they want to be together, and you just have to make it believable for the audience. And I feel like reading romance books to get that actually is helpful. I know a lot of writers don't like to read the genre that they write in, but I think that if you're gonna write a romance, you need to be reading romance books. Don't come out here thinking you know how to write romance just because, oh, it's just two people falling in love, like anybody can do that. No, anybody can't do that. It's not that easy. So I feel like V.E. Schwab really needs to learn to convey her romances, because in all of the books I've read, the romances were poo-poo. And it's crazy because the relationships were good between the family, so it's like, I don't know. And I hate nothing more than a corny ending. I don't mind an ambiguous ending. It's one of my favorite things, but the ending to that book was poo-poo. It was bad. It was something that I would have like written in 5th grade. Like, my little brother Danielle could have came up with a better ending than that. I didn't like it. Because when I think about it, I'm like, I think that this book would have been a 3-star book for me. Like, it was still enjoyable. But when I think about the ending, I'm like, oh no. Like, I'm an ending person. Like, the book could be bad up until the ending, and the ending is good. I'm like, oh, period, 5 stars. A book could be good up until the ending, and the ending isn't good. And I'm like, oh, yikes, I'm gonna have to give this book 3 stars, because endings to me are very, very important. So, yeah. That's it for this rant review. I hope that you like it. Let me know if you want me to do more rant reviews, because I definitely don't mind. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.